CBS presents this program in color.
It's always a little bit of magic when I'm able to get it to come up on the first try. Right, so, this is the third time I've played the first Castlevania on this channel. I just love this game, and it's a bit of a long-time Halloween tradition. This and Castlevania 4. I would add Ghosts and Goblins to that list, but that game, well, this one I feel like is enjoyably challenging. That one is irritatingly challenging, a lot like, well, Castlevania 3. I have beaten, obviously I've shown myself beating 1, I've beaten 2, obviously I needed a pretty substantial walkthrough for that, as a lot of translation issues and all the other fun stuff. In Castlevania 3, well, that was back at a time when I could actually use the phrase balls to the wall. It was just one of those games where after I beat it, I was just like, okay, I'm never doing that again. Which is a real shame, because I feel like there's a lot going for it, especially with the extra characters and whatnot, but it's just, it's too much, darling. It's too much. Well, anyway, you've heard me prattle on enough. Let's get started with this masterpiece. Where's the music? like what? This is new? I've never encountered this before. Wow. How is it that I always run into these weird glitches whenever I'm recording episodes? Dang it. Huh. Well, this is gonna be quite dull. Oh well. I played the game so many times, I'm kind of hearing the soundtrack in my mind already. I would attempt to whistle it, but well, I think it would probably make more sense if I just kind of kept up with the commentary side of things. So, has anybody else ever experienced this glitch? I mean, there's no music. It's like I'm back at the demo screen again. I still always kind of wonder, are those supposed to be like panthers or are they dogs? And Lydia, what are the zombies or ghosts or banshees? What do you call these enemies? It's always kind of fun when you get multiple ones in there, because then you can get extra points or even a double shot. You're gonna really ramp up those points. You give you plenty of time on this stage, thankfully. Nope! Don't go up the ladder. Okay. Why did I call it a ladder? It's a staircase. And look at that, now I got a triple shot. Let me see if I could just get a few more points, and then I'd probably better just go to the next doorway, actually. There we go. Any more? And just like that, I've already gotten a 1-up. So if I just keep doing this, then I could just farm for 1-ups. How interesting. That's the power of the holy water, baby. Well, let's maybe see if I can get another 1-up. I don't know. Any more? There we go. Okay, let's actually continue on with this game. So there's a few things I didn't know were possible in this game. Being able to play without any music, and the idea that you could just farm for a whole bunch of 1-ups on this first stage. First, let's get that pork chop. Although, in all honesty, I think it would make more sense to call it a turkey leg, but I guess in the instruction manual it's referred to as a pork chop for some reason. I think I just got 2 more lives. I'm gonna skip that because that's the time stopper and I don't want that. Okay, break that down here. Give me all the points. All of them. Unlimited points. Okay, well, it's like this game's really glitching out. There it is. Well, I am sure that I am going to die, because I do not think I'm going to be able to defeat the bat in this allotted time, but we shall see. I kind of need the extras anyways. Time for the time crunch. Can I actually beat this guy in time? Wow. Okay, there's the boss music. This is probably the first time the time limit was actually a real threat. Come on, freeze in a hero pose. Yeah, kind of. But I get so many points for that level anyway, it really, it don't matter. You got 2 1-ups from that. So it's kind of interesting, and oh, I finally got the music back. Yeah, that's nice. So, recently there's this one YouTuber that I watch on occasion. I want to say the name of the channel is M.A.T.V. And it's rather fascinating as he very much does deep dives into the lore of games. And there were 2 very obvious facts about this game that I feel so stupid for not figuring out sooner. So the cover art of this game was very much influenced by the works of the fantasy artist Frank Frazzetti. Now, if any of you have watched the potentially cult classic Fire and Ice, which has my husband doing it, you'll know his art style. As he was the one that came up with the aesthetic of the film, and then it was Ralph Bashki that was the director of the film. It's very interesting. Now, let's see if I can get some multiple Medusas in there. Oh no. Well, anyway, if I just stand here, I'll get some more treasure. I guess it just shows how many times I've played this. Wow, another one of those cross animates. It just shows how many times I've played this game that I'm just kind of on autopilot. Oh, there's a glitch. Seem to be showing off a lot of glitches this time around. I would have figured it was too good to be true that it worked on the first try without there being some major issues. Ooh, pork chop! Now I can't think of there's something over here. I know I can make this jump. It just feels like there should be something hidden in the walls, but there is not. Okay, I got the pork chop, which works for me, yeah? In fact, that was probably one of the other things that was crazy was... So, in the 5th game of the series, I believe it would be, known as Castlevania Dracula X over here, which was a poured down remake of Castlevania Dracula X Rando of Blood, or maybe it was just called Rando of Blood, but Probably one of the things I found interesting was that the entire opening is narrated in German. In case you were wondering where I was going with this tangent. I guess it just kind of shows how much of an ear I have for languages as I'm watching it. I'm just like, wait a minute, this game was released in Japan only. Why is the narration sound like it's in German? And sure enough, it was in German. I guess maybe it has something to do with my German ancestry. Which, I'm trying to think. Probably by the time this video goes up, Oktoberfest will probably be over, but well, it's kind of a fascinating thing. Even though it's called Oktoberfest, it's like a week-long celebration that begins at the end of September. I want to say it starts September 27th, and then it ends in October. Such a fascinating concept for a holiday, really. The idea that two noble families got married, ending a long time of wars, if I remember correctly. And the party of those two people getting married was so great, there was just a small group of people that were just like, hey, you know, this was so much fun, why don't we just do this every year? Was there always a door next to that Medusa head? Kind of makes me wonder what would have happened if I'd taken it. Oh, this is the dagger, right? I want to keep the holy water. It makes things so much easier, yeah? I don't really know why I've gone German. But in all honesty, I mean, Dracula was always considered more Romanian, if I remember correctly. Like, I think the origins of Dracula is traced back to a Romanian king known as Vlad Tepes. Or to his enemies, he was known as Vlad the Impaler. While he was fantastic to his subjects, I guess he was quite cruel to his enemies. And one of his popular pastimes was just putting the heads of his enemies on spikes outside of his palace. Hence the title of Impaler. But yeah, I guess that's all it comes down to, is how well you rule. I mean, if you're like very cruel on the battlefield, but you're loved by your people, then, well, you're seen as a good leader. I don't think if there's any other big examples of that, but nothing is coming to my mind. I guess it really just shows how autopilot it is that, well, I feel like I'm not even talking about the game at this point. I'm talking about some Romanian history as well as, like, different rulers throughout different dynasties. Are there always Medusa heads in this area? I don't remember that. I feel like, well, I mean, I play this game every year, but it feels like there's a few little twists and turns this time around. So I'm going to change things up a little bit. Well, let's see if perhaps I could get that score high enough that I can make the number next to that 9 over there turn into a 1. Alright, there's a crow there, yep. And there's a crow here. And then one of those dragon statues. I guess they're dragons. I don't know why, I just always kind of figured they were dinosaurs for some reason. And it would make sense that they would be dragons, because I believe that's where the term Dracula comes from. Comes from the Romanian word Dracul, which means dragon, which was the other nickname given to Vlad Tepes. I'm not really sure where... Wow. They're really, being nice with the whole, like, cross thing. It's like a religious holiday or something. But let's see, yeah. I'm gonna guess he was probably just called the Dragon because he was known for his strength on the battlefield, perhaps. Aha! I knew there was a knife there, it's just I don't do it. What the heck happened there? Alright, mummies, you're going down. Freeze! Can't even get a bite in edgewise. No! I want to get some more heart. Oh, I got the one! I got the one! I just want to be sure I am recording this, right? Yeah! Yeah! Also, the colors are like really far off on this TV. I could probably adjust them later, but you know what? I think it gives it its own prestige, having this kind of bath of orange. If I remember correctly, that big heart, and then this is the stopwatch. See if I can get this bat. Nope! That bat is one of the few things in this game that always throws me off. Go away! Don't know where that combination came from. Okay, hopefully I've got enough. Okay. Probably didn't even need that, but whatever. The mermen seem extra potent today. What the? An invincibility potion? Okay, well... This game seems... Oh. I wonder if it's giving me these bonuses because of a glitch or because of, like, the high number of points I got. Whew. Didn't think I was gonna make it. Okay. There's the holy water. Oh, come on! Dang it. Well, I made it this far, and now I'm sucking, and now the TV's having a seizure. Oh well, I mean, I'd say just going this far on basically my train brain, I think that's pretty impressive. Well, let's see if I can at least get out of this cave. More hearts. Very nice. There's my holy water. I just somehow knew I didn't make it. Dang it, all my progress. Okay, I'm gonna see if I... Never mind. Hopefully the TV will remain stable and not prone to weakness. So there's my second N.E.S quote from The Incredibles. There are so many times on a daily basis I'll just say, it's too much, darling, it's too much. I feel like it's just a very applicable quote for a lot of things. Now I've kind of lost my confidence, but I think I can make it. Yeah! It always confuses me how they can, like... No! Am I gonna die on this stage? Get my first game over? Oh well, certainly beat my high score, like, look at that. It's almost like the TV's trying to simulate lightning or something. Kind of a pity I'm not getting those crazy perks anymore, but whatever. Okay. Let's make it past this section. Okay. I might be able to do this after all. money, money, money. It'd be like if there was a parody of the Matrix and all the bullets just hit Neo. Like he's dodging them and they all just hit him. Trying to see if I could do anything to like break the game again. Yeah! Got a 1-up. Oh, I could have gotten another 1-up there. Ooh, invincibility potion. Gotta be careful, because if you have the invincibility potion on while you try to walk through different rooms, it will crash the game. Hopefully they give you a lot of time here. Looks like I'm gonna need that extra 1-up. I was getting too greedy there. Okay. Let's do this the right way. Hopefully these things only take 1 hit. Oh dear. I'm not sure how to beat Frankenstein without... I mean, Frankenstein's monster without the holy water. I'm getting too greedy again. There it is again. I think that's probably the end, right? Yep. Dang it. Hey! Well, I got the axe. I feel like that's worth something. Dang it, the axe probably would have been a better weapon for this situation. Well, at least I got the pork chop. Okay, this is definitely where things are going to get interesting, as I'm kind of in uncharted waters. Because ordinarily I just use the holy water, like how I did with the mummies, to stun lock both Frankenstein and Igor. I gotta wonder if I had the axe, would they have given me a double shot? Okay. I am not equipped for this. I'm sure I'm gonna get a game over, but I think this is a pretty good start in all honesty. Well, halfway through. Alright, take a note of that high score. 159470. That's the highest I've ever seen it. Okay, let's start over proper so I can get that holy water. I don't know if I'm going to beat the game, but you know what? I at least want to give it the old college try, if you know what I mean. Gotta wait for that bat to come back. We'll just do that. Well, anyway, I should probably play a little better because I need that holy water. I can't do this without the holy water. Okay. Well, I probably would be able to do it without the holy water, but I'll need more words of Christopher Walken. I don't want to. If anybody can name what movie that's from, I'd be impressed. It would make sense that I would be dying a lot on this stage. I could definitely say this is where the difficulty starts to ramp up a fair bit. And the next stage is even harder. Let's see how out of practice I am. Okay, gotta get that holy water. Ouch. I'm gonna wait here. Hopefully a merman won't come out while I'm trying to be on the platform. Good. Yeah. Hopefully that ought to do it. Depends on where the bat's gonna be. There we go. Okay. Don't lose sight of what's important. Don't go crazy for trying to get all the hunchbacks unless there's some sort of opening. Besides, it seems like they're dropping nice stuff already. Oh, look at that. Gotta wait for that to disappear. Come on, give me two. Next to each other. Maybe if I wait here long enough, I'll be able to get something that'll break the game. Like a double shot. Timing was just a little bit off. Look at all the hearts I'm getting. This is insane. I think the game knows what I'm trying to do, and it's just like, nope, not gonna give it to you. There we go. Yeah, double shot! Just gotta be careful, because if I get the knife now, it is going to ruin things. Now with the knife, I'm sure of it. Triple shot! Yeah! See, now when you're able to just knock out multiple enemies with the same weapon, it just breaks the game. It's kind of hilarious. I could have sworn at one point there was a quadruple shot, but maybe that was just me misremembering things. Put it up with another Bernstein Bears thing. One up. Oh, look at all those hearts. Yeah. So I'm trying. Oh yeah. It was one of those things where I'm like, what was the other factoid I wanted to mention in these videos? Oh yeah. So Frank Frazzetti, big influence on the art style of this first game. And I guess the whip was very much inspired by Indiana Jones. Two things that just sound very obvious once they're stated, but... well, I never really thought about it, in all honesty. Because I guess it would make sense, as the main director for the first 3 Castlevania games was a bit of a cinephile. No! No, wait. There's holy water up here, I believe. There's holy water further along. It just makes things easier with the holy water. Burn the demons. Ow, dang it. Okay, not there. It must be further along that there's something in the wall. Up here. Nope. Here. Nope. Red skeleton. I'm not sure if anybody is familiar with the works of Tex Avery. I feel like whenever people talk about classic animators, everybody's like quick to jump on and talk about Chuck Jones and, well, perhaps to a lesser extent, there is kind of the quote-unquote hipster version of Chuck Jones with Fritz Freeling, which personally I was just a bigger fan of Fritz Freeling's style. Especially how he would later go on to create the Pink Panther, as well as probably one of my personal favorite cartoons, The Inspector. Which, it's always been kind of like one of those ideas I came up with. It's like, you know what, imagine if they made a game in the style of, well, I mean, that was animated, like Cuphead, but instead of it being the 30s style, you would have it be the 60s style. Or, well, I wonder how much, I don't know how much the rights to the Inspector character are, but, well, I mean, if it was cheap enough, you could just kind of buy the license, get the copyrighted stuff out of the way, and then just have like a team of animators animate a game about that. I think I'm already done with the whole holy water thing, so I'll see what I can do with the axe. Gimli's axe. And my axe. Can't use special items while on stairs. I guess I should have anticipated as much. So, I'm trying to remember. There's like a double shot around here. Nah, it's higher up, I remember. This is such an interesting perspective. I'm not used to doing this without the holy water. Stupid hunchback. Oh. The hunchback gave me 5 hearts. That's nice. Yeah, usually I just use the holy water to projectile these knights. Much like how a person doing a lot of drinking would projectile. I don't know what I'm trying to say here. Get back in frame, dang it! There we go. I mean, the axe wouldn't have been the preferred weapon, but at least it would have been a weapon. If I get to the boss of this area, well, it's going to be quite an interesting experience, as I'm not really sure how to defeat him without the holy water. Which we shall see. But then again, hey, maybe the boss is a girl. I don't know. Yeah, the holy water makes the stage a lot easier. Oh, come on! Hit the axe! No! Okay. Honestly, I'd rather it be this way anyhow. Because now I can get the holy water. There it is! Oh, wow, that was close. This is just one of those moments I was able to stop myself. Stop jumping like one of those Chinese vampires. I wish I could say the proper name of it, but, well, I don't know much Mandarin, but yeah, when people talk about particular ghouls and whatnot, the idea of a bouncing vampire, that's scary. Okay. That's right. I guess the game still wants to remind me that, like, there is still a bit of a challenge to be had. Darn it. I was hoping maybe I was going to take a hit there. That is the nice thing about being on the stairs, is that you don't have to worry about the knockback. And, yeah, that's kind of the thing, is the knockback can be annoying because you'll just kind of get sucked into a hole and whatnot, but, well, I'm playing Super Castlevania 4 so many times, I would just love if somebody made a mod of this game where it's basically the same game, but the difference is you can adjust your trajectory when you jump. So in this game, when you jump at an angle, you stay jumped at an angle. Or if you don't jump straight up, you have to wait until you hit the ground before you can change direction. Make it so you can change direction, and make it so you can whip in all 8 directions. Just like Contra. I'm not sure why I said that like Al Pacino in Scent of a Woman. Or my favorite line from that movie, convenience store. How convenient. I could have sworn there was something hidden in the walls here. Maybe it'd be another one of them Mandela effects. Oh, look at that! Alright, now this is what I like holy water for. Let's try that again. Wait for the axe. Axe body spray, get the double shot, come on, yeah! Yeah, I was gonna say, is that the axe or is this the axe? That's just some more points. Woo! Triple shot! Now I just have to be absolutely careful that I don't lose this, as this makes the level so much easier. I don't think it probably showed throughout this particular playthrough how much easier the game is when you have the holy water. Especially when you have it with a double shot. Perhaps with a little bit of whiskey. Yeah! Now, ordinarily you get the triple shot here, but since I already got it, you just get a heart. There's one of those X guys I know up ahead. Yeah, here he is. Now, is there anything up here? Probably not. I hope the X guy doesn't respawn. Very good. Okay, let's hurry up and... Are there always a pair of candles above the door there? That's weird. Money, 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 money. Money! There we go. Yeah, 69. It's interesting how, like, in pop culture, there's so many people that go, 69, hey, nice. But for me, I just always think back to Billy Madison, where he's just there in the science class. More like Borophyll. Alright, everybody, open the pages, 69, 69! What is your problem, Billy? Oh, it's nothing. Please, go on with the Borophyll. Okay. Now there's a particular rhythm to this room. Let me see if I can remember how it works. Woo! What up? I'm out of the rhythm. Nope! No more Medusa. I like how it just explodes on contact. Alright, easiest way to cheat death. Just pound him with holy water. I don't know. Maybe just for fun, say pound her with holy water. Oh gosh, that sounds awful. Pound her. It's just making me think of one of the edits. It's like, later, groupies. Grubby's gonna pound some gnarly groupies. Grubby grouper. Hey, I got 69 hearts. Hey! And just like that, I've made it to the final stage. Yeah! See what other crazy conversations will come around. They come around when they no buy. When they no buy. It's me by trying to do my best Guato. What happened? Okay, let's see if this holy water can actually do anything. So once again, rhythm. If you jump in the right spots, the bats won't hurt you. Clearly that's not it. By the way, I just love the music of this map. You know what? I'm just gonna let it speak for itself. I will try to figure this out. They have changed the rhythm on me. So now I gotta figure out what the new pattern is. Fireball. Yeah! Get out of my way! Dang it! No! I don't have enough. Okay, that's how it's supposed to work. I can wonder if anybody's ever just attempted to kill all these bats before moving forward. That's probably why they give you so much time. Well, I'm sure I'm not going to make it past this next section. I've got, like, no hearts. So as such, I have no chance. There we go. It's the biggest thing about these old games. It's all about pattern recognition. There we go. Once you get the pattern down, you can replicate it easy enough. But there are games like this that love to throw in a little bit of a curveball that really just kind of keep you on your toes. It's like, oh, you thought you memorized the pattern? Well, let's try something else. And I feel that was very much what made Cuphead so difficult, is you still got the idea that you have to figure out the complex pattern, but they still like to change it up. I'm just gonna wait over here. Okay. They could just go through the walls. What are they, ghosts? Okay, get down the stairs. Get down the stairs. There we go. Woo! Ouch. Okay, but there's like no way you're gonna be able to carry enough items to be able to actually get to this section, so like, whatever. I was about to say, let me in! You know what? I'm just gonna go for it because there's like no way I'm gonna be able to get enough for this. Alright. Time to get to Dracula. So here is the fun question for you, any Dracula fans out there. Who do you think is the definitive Dracula? Bela Lugosi or Christopher Lee? Okay, now to do this legitimately. Well, I feel like the character of Dracula has just been around so many times that, like, I'm sure there's been more than just Christopher Lee and Bela Lugosi that have played the character. Or if I remember correctly, so Lugosi, I want to say, was his acting name, and I think his last name was Glasgow. He's Hungarian, is all I know for sure. And it's been said that he very much struggled with English, so how it worked is that somebody translated his lines into Hungarian so he could understand what he was saying, and then he was able to he had like a dialect coach or whatnot to articulate how to actually say these words. Okay, back down the stairs, and I think that should be enough. Yeah, Super Castlevania 4 did it so much better in the idea that you can actually stock up on stuff. It'd be nice if there was a better alternative to such things. Okay, so if you hit enough of those fireballs, you can actually get a double shot. Dang it. Darn. That sound effect. I don't think I'm beating this. At least on that attempt. I still am very much a firm believer that, while I was talking about the idea that these old games are all about pattern recognition, I still very much stand behind the claim that this game allows you to beat it, because there's just so much randomness going on with this final boss that it's all about just waiting for the right combination of things to click, and then that is when you beat him. Trying to think if there's any other interesting pieces of conversation I can have while I'm going through this. Let's go for conversation parade. Sure, but how does it work? What do you think of the stars? I don't know, they're good, I guess. Powering down. Ooh. At least I think that's how the sketch goes. I've maybe seen like 1.5 episodes of Adventure Time. And people very much tell me it's a classic. I don't know. I guess the major advertisement I remember seeing for it is it just looked like Jake the dog was licking a poopy butthole. And I'm just like, what kind of show is this? That's disgusting. I guess in context it makes a little more sense, but it was still very much like a really? Sort of thing. Darn. Got mixed up. Yeah, I got a 1-up. Maybe I'm trying too hard for that double shot. I don't know if I'll be able to beat the game this time, but, well, just see what happens. Nothing else though, at least give it the old college try. What? Not sure if too many other people kind of picked up on that, but for some odd reason I just kind of go in and out of a very cheesy British accent for absolutely no reason. Maybe it's just because I'm too obsessed with like a lot of British sounding things. I guess I think back most, well, there's this one very interesting sketch where I think it's just called Harry, you're a wizard. What? Wizard? Okay, like, what happened there? How come Dracula took so much damage? Dang it. It's just such a weird glitch. You know what? I'll just aim for the head. Probably be a bit quicker that way, anyhow. Dang it. There we go. Yeah, at least I made it to the second form. I don't think I'm gonna get much further than this. Didn't think so. Well, in the immortal words of Uncle Ruckus, King on! And if anybody knows what episode I'm quoting, just that particular clip was a bit of a long-standing Halloween tradition with my friend group. I don't even know how much of us even watch the Boondocks, but we just always watch that scene because it's like, well, it's making fun of The Exorcist, and The Exorcist, much like a lot of horror movies, I feel is very often associated with Halloween. Halloween is very much a season of experiencing your worst fears. And possession, that is definitely a fear people have. Later, that fear would kind of morph into, like, the mind control aliens of, like, the 50s and whatnot. But let's see. Probably the biggest fears I have in terms of, like, if I'm watching a horror movie. Well, personally, I love a horror movie that's creepy. If you're able to convey horror without showing gore or a single dead body, that I'm very interested in. That is the kind of stuff that I just absolutely adore, because it's all about, like, the creep factor rather than the, like, oh, I'm gonna throw up from this. I know that was very much the thing people say about with, well, The Thing by John Carpenter, is the idea that it's, like, very gross. Darn it. Hate it when he turns like that. I was hoping I would get a double shot, but I guess not. If you hit the fireballs enough times, they might drop something. Dang it. There we go, I got a little something. I'm definitely not beating as you are in this attempt. Oh, I don't know why. I thought I was at the game over screen, so I just like, continue. So let's see, we were talking about horror. Well, probably the biggest things that upset me is the idea of an unwanted transformation. So, what do I mean by this? Two prime examples I can think of, which came from animation. I was a teenage Gary, the Part 2 Halloween special of SpongeBob, wherein SpongeBob uses his humanity and becomes an animal in the form of a snail. That entire transformation sequence is just horrifying to me. Meanwhile, when Squidward ends up being the snail at the end of it, that's hilarious. But it's always just the idea of... Well, honestly, I think that's kind of where I get my fear of needles from. Especially that, and then you combine it with this one MGM 30s cartoon called Tree Doctor. That I think is even more disturbing because the guy is injected with tree sap and he turns into a tree. And at the very end of the short, he is stuck there with no way of being able to save himself. And there's this termite looking at the camera going like, that was my turn. Yeah, you can bet that messed me up. And I was like 27 when I saw that. I don't do well with the body horror. And probably the other big thing I think about is the idea of if the body is gone but the mind is still there. The best example I can think of is there was this movie called The Awakenings, where the thing that's absolutely terrifying is it was based off of a true story, where there was like this sickness going around where people became living statues. To this day, nobody really knows exactly what caused it. Some people say it was just like a weird immune response. Well, yeah, I guess that was really about it. It was just like some sort of weird immune response, kind of like how there was a famous case of one person that after battling a bad either cold or flu, one of the two, that wasn't meant to rhyme, he lost his sense of touch. Which, it's one of those things you really take for granted. I feel like that's like the only way you can walk is if you're able to feel where your feet are. If you can't feel anything, it's like you're not able to get that coordination. Unless you're like really staring at your feet, but even then, there's something very difficult about that. So I'm trying to think if there were other examples. Well, it's kind of funny going back to that tree example from the NGM cartoon. Is even before I saw that cartoon, it was like one of the worst nightmares I still very much think about on occasion, where like I just randomly turned into a tree. And basically my feet turned into roots which burrowed into the ground. I couldn't move them, and then I just woke up in a cold sweat, and I just ripped off the sheet that was on top of me just to be like, oh gosh, is this real? Oh, thank goodness. I guess I'm trying to remember what other big things. So the idea that like the mind is there but the body is gone. I guess it'd be like the idea of like if you got turned into a statue and, well, you were just unable to say that you wanted things to end and they had no way of being able to help you. guess that's what I get for being a little too overzealous with the whole double shot thing. I'll give this a few more attempts, and if I'm not able to do it, I think I will just call it an episode. Like I said, I'm very much convinced that this game lets you beat it, and I don't think it's letting me do that. So I figure just a few more attempts, and then we go from there. I guess maybe another thing to kind of feed off to that fear of the idea of, like, the body being immobile but the mind being wide awake goes into a very popular fear in the Victorian era, the fear of being buried alive. Could you just imagine you're 6 feet underground, you're in this coffin, and even if somehow you're able to get the lid off, you'd have to unbury yourself through all that dirt. But even then, how in the world would you be able to get the lid off, because all that dirt is on top of you? And I guess maybe it kind of goes into what I'm going to call the Bioshock principle. Like, imagine the idea that you're in an underwater city where the only way out is broken, and the water is slowly and slowly coming closer and closer to you. Or it's like the idea of being stuck on a space station when you see the Earth explode. I feel like that's definitely a big one. The idea that it's like, well, you're all alone now. And in space, nobody can hear you scream. Unless, if I remember correctly, it's the... Oh yeah, Killer Clowns from Outer Space, that's what it was. Where nobody can hear you eat ice cream. I think that was the tagline. Ah, this isn't gonna work. Nope. Ooh, maybe it is. No! One time I got the double shot. Okay. I got 4 more attempts. If I don't get it in those 4 attempts, then I will call it an episode. I really do want to beat this. But at least on the bright side, it wouldn't be too much of a loss, as I have beaten this game before. Several times, actually. I think I filmed 2 of those times on this channel. You know what? I'm going to change up the strategy. See what happens if I use the holy water instead. Not sure if it's going to do much, considering it only hits the head, but I don't know. Maybe it'll do something for those fireballs. Probably 2 more passes out of that. I guess in the meantime, I'm trying to think if there's any other fears. Well, probably one of my weird fears is, I think it probably just kind of goes to accidents that have happened where big barges or whatnot have taken down bridges, or bridges after like years of disrepair and whatnot would just kind of fall apart. The idea of a bridge going over water, or the idea of going over like a high ravine or whatnot. Basically anywhere where there's just a long time to fall. That's always been kind of a terrifying thing for me, because it's like, well, if this thing were to go down, then I'm going with it. There'd be no chance. And of course I'd have to be silent. It's like, oh, I'm actually defeating Dracula this time, so I gotta concentrate. I somehow knew it was going to show up there in the middle. Yeah, this whole holy water thing does not work. Okay, well, I guess that does something. Still no double shot. Just completely run out of conversation, haven't I? Yeah, well, I guess it ramps up the dramatic tension. Yeah, I'll just stick with the cross. It's just, it actually does something. So I got 3 more attempts to do this. And then I would just kind of call it an episode. It's annoying, but this is just one of those things that happens sometimes, where the game is just like, nope, you can't beat me. For any Perfect Dark fans out there. That's a pretty obscure line, so it's one of those things where, like, if you disarm one of the characters, and then you start, like, running around them so they can't hit you, that's one of the things they'll say is, you won't beat me. Or it's, you can't beat me, one of the two. It's just kind of fascinating how many different pieces of dialogue there are in there. Probably one of my personal favorites is that if a guard is killed in the eyesight of another guard, then they'll have like different lines. One of my personal favorites being, I never liked him anyway. So now I knew he was going to do that turn thing. It just takes up so much room. On top of that, I kind of wonder how tall Simon is supposed to be, that he's kind of towering over him. Darn it. Well, that was probably the best attempt I've had, actually. Let's keep going. We've got 2 more tries. Trying to think if there's any other conversations I can have while this is happening. I know from my experience in Cuphead, if I, like, distract myself, it's almost easier for me to concentrate. Wouldn't really know how to think about it. Maybe it's almost like the idea that if you're working very hard on a problem, you're, like, so focused on it that you might not see the more obvious solution and whatnot. And so it's the idea that, like, if you step away from it a little bit, then you're able to think about a problem a bit better. Of course, it doesn't always work. I mean, when it comes to certain problems, you do need to look at them objectively, but sometimes you're just a little too close to the problem to be able to do such a thing. Feels like I'm almost sounding like a therapist. It's just like, see, you gotta think about this objectively, but I know how difficult it is. Get that holy water out of here. Of course. Jumped right into him. Yeah, I'm not doing it this time. I just know that much for sure. For a while, I kind of wondered why he wore that amulet, but he is Count Dracula. And from, I guess, certain traditions and whatnot, that little medallion he wears is very indicative of his Count status. Because I guess therein lies the question is, what exactly does a Count mean in terms of, like, the hierarchical structure? I mean, there's obviously the idea of the king and queen. The king rules all, and the queen is his wife, and hopefully the queen will be able to produce sons to carry on the throne in the same tradition. This was back in a time where women were property, not people. So there's that, and the idea that sometimes the prince is oftentimes called the knave or the jack. In fact, there are some people that when you play cards, instead of calling it the jack, sometimes they'll call him the knave, so it's like the knave of hearts. Which is interesting, is going from old Bugs Bunny cartoons, I always thought knave was a bit of an insult. Much like how Bugs Bunny would call, you know, maybe that's the way the insult worked, is the idea that Bugs Bunny would call Elmer Fudd Nimrod, which is a biblical figure that was known to be a fantastic hunter. So it's a lot like calling somebody that made a stupid decision an Einstein. It's sarcasm. And odds are that's probably where it is. It's just like, well, knave. Because it's just, obviously you're not of noble blood. Alright, I've only got one hit, so let's see the magic. Nope. This jumps like really high. Well, said I would end it there. And I'm gonna end it there. I'm annoyed I wasn't able to beat the game, but hey, I was able to show you the final boss. And to me, I consider that a fair bit of a success. Until next time, keep having fun.